Добрий день, я вітаю.
Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you here. I'm Olena, and it's a pleasure to welcome you in Media Center Ukrinform today. And today we have invited you here to present the online training course, a very important one, because we're going to be presenting the training course to you on negotiations on Ukraine's accession to the EU, the AND's National Interest Advocacy Network and Prometheus leading online education platform will announce today the launch of a new educational course, Negotiations on Ukraine's Accession to the EU. So we're going to be discussing this course, its target audience, what's it comprised of, and who's been involved to make this training course possible. So I'd like to present to you our keynote speakers, Mr. Vasyl Sehin from AND's EUROSCOPE project manager. Also, Daria Gaidai is here from the Vice Prime Minister on Euro-Atlantic Integration Office. Also, Janis Dimon, the ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Ukraine, and Olena, producer of the course, project manager of ANDS, and Viktoriia Melnyk, lecturer, Center of Policy and Legal Reforms. So, friends, hello, Vasyl. Let's start with you. And what's this course all about? What its objective? What's the background behind making the decision to develop this course? Yeah, thank you. And today I would like to speak less, but allow our partners to talk more, because they've been instrumentally, proactively involved in making this course happen. So I would be curious to learn their recommendations, tidbits, and pieces of advice to Ukraine, how to launch this course, where to find financial resources, and figure out what would be the curriculum, what tools to be efficiently used looking forward in the negotiation process. And the professional colleagues who were directly involved in designing this course, in communication with instructors, and selection, hand-picking the concentrated topics that would allow us to compress the whole volume of information on European integration in a couple of days training course. And that was one of the goals of the NGO ANDS. Well, the first objective is networking for the Ukrainian professionals ready to join efforts to achieve vested interests, and second objective, involvement of the youth, because they will be the beneficiaries of Ukraine's Euro integration. They will be the ones who would be raising the issues that might have been considered to be impossible to achieve by the old-time government officials, but the young people might be thinking outside of the box. So they're sitting on the bench right now, but soon enough they will be major players fighting for the interests of Ukraine as the country in terms of the standards, quotas, whatnot. And the NGOs would also benefit from it as well. So that's was the major motivation for us to draft this training course, and it keeps motivating us to keep working with the youth, both in the context of European integration and in the context of Euro-Atlantic integration, where we are also making a number of efforts, including youth models, etc. And looking forward, we'll learn more from other stakeholders and partners about this course. Thank you. Mr. Ambassador, the question to you, you have supported this project, so it's important for us to understand what projects have been supported by you and how do you select the projects that could be supported. What is the priority right now? Yeah, good morning. First of all, I would like to say that it's a pleasure for me to be here today with you. And if it's okay with you, I will switch to English.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. This morning, actually, I came from a meeting at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and it dealt with 75 years of the Council of Europe. Council of Europe is something else than the European Union. But it was established in 1949, actually after the war. And it was very much about values, about democracy. And it started with, as far as I understood, 10 countries. And it was very much an endeavor with which they had no idea where it would end and where it would actually, towards it would develop. So why I'm saying this, because this actually we're now in a meeting with young people trying to build European integration, Ukraine accessing to the European Union, a very long process. My country is very much involved in this for all sorts of reasons, and we try to support activities as much as we can. But it's very much about young people, because it is their future. And these young people are actually also defending the country now. So they have to have a stake in the future negotiations. And these negotiations, they will take a long time. Let's be clear, these are difficult negotiations. And sometimes you can even say, well, the question is whether it's a real negotiation, because it's called the acquis communautaire. So there is already a framework, and you have to abide by the rules in order to become a member of the union. But there are rooms for discussions about how to accede, and how to access, and under what conditions. So that will be actually the negotiation process. But it's very complicated. Thousands of papers need to be filled out, implemented, etc. And it's a miracle what is happening. Because let's be honest, Ukraine is reforming already for a long time in the midst of war. There is no example, I don't know of any other example of a country that does this. So you deserve a lot of appreciation for all that you do as a country. But the choice that the country has made is clear. It is towards Euro-Atlantic integration. And for us, we also came from a long way. You have to understand that in order to integrate a country like Ukraine into the European Union, it takes for us also a lot of work, because it's a big country with huge interests. And our modalities now with, 27 member states, are such that it is rather bureaucratic. And we need to change as well in order to incorporate Ukraine into our European Union. So it means that we, as members of the European Union, also have to do our homework and change in order to be able to accept you. Well, this being said, as you know, not too long ago, our Prime Minister signed a bilateral agreement for 10 years about security in Kharkiv. I was there. And this is very much about supporting Ukraine for long term. It shows our commitment to supporting Ukraine in the fields of security, in the field of change, reforms, and it goes from the economic part until developments in society. It shows our commitment for a long time. There's a lot of money involved, but it also is related to European integration, because we believe that it is an added value to have you inside the European institutions. And you've already come a long way, let's be honest. It's not happening now. It has been going on for a long time. European, let's say, visa liberalization is there. You already profit quite a lot. There is an agreement on trade issues. So there's a lot of homework already being done. But it needs to be continued. It's krok za krokem, and it's progress. You need to make progress. And it's not only about the government, you know. This is about the society at large. I think what I like very much about ANS, our partner, I think we support this activity. We truly believe that civil society has a role to play, and it is a driving force for change, because we've seen also in this country that there are ups and downs, when it comes to reforms and the willingness from a political point of view to change. So NGOs are a force which can help the country to keep on its path, on its trajectory. This is actually what we try to support as much as possible. Now, I received a lot of information from my colleagues, and I have no idea where I am in this paper, but this is actually what I tried to convey to you. Be active, be involved. This is about your future. So I really hope that also the political establishment now inside, for example, Verkhovna Rada, or in the office of the president, or the cabinet of ministers, understand that they have to involve the youth in order to decide upon the choices to be made for the future. It is actually their future. And it's not the future of people like me, who are 60 years old. No, it's the people who are now 17, 16, 18, or defending their country. It's them. So I'm happy to be here, as always, and I look forward to a discussion.
Дякую вам, пане посол.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And now, Ms. Daria, the question to you. We know that the Office of Vice Prime Minister works on a couple of dimensions of our future European integration. This is an uphill, multi-layer process, of course, but the involvement of this process of the civil society, is it beneficial? Did you help to come up with some bullets or briefing materials? With a full understanding of the global trends. Thank you. And first of all, I would like to thank the authors of this training course, all the speakers and experts involved in its design, allowing, well, the situation is ever-changing. Acquis communautaire is changing. The challenges are numerous. That's why the use of this training course now is very relevant and timely, because we can see the trends and the increase of interest and the need, not only within the public service, but among the civil society and academia and the youth that is being looking and trying to define its future in this country. So they're all being involved to the processes of European integration, and the accessibility and the availability of this training course would allow us to ensure that with the help of this high quality product, people who want to learn more about the European integration would learn exactly what is expected of us and how to make it happen. I am extremely grateful to Enes when we met at the onset of this initiative, and we mentioned that the focus should be not only on the incumbent civil servants in the ministries and agencies, because Your Excellency, you mentioned correctly that we do need to involve the youth, because for us the European integration is something that always involves young experts, because they are the ones who are more fluent in English. Some of them have graduated from international colleges, and now they are working as civil servants. But we recognize that negotiation process is mostly about transformations and adaptation of the Ukrainian legislation to acquis communautaire, and this transformation process will take time. And all through the negotiation process, we need to learn how to be a full-fledged, competitive, able-bodied member of the EU, able to tackle any commitments and obligations. And that's why it's important that the civil service hires young people fluent in foreign languages, because the EU is an international community of people who speak in different languages. So that's why we well, the closer we approach the membership, the more there will be need in each ministry and agency. There will be a greater need in experts who fully understand, embrace, and can handle the European integration process. So hopefully this training course will provide the incentives for young people to select this path and join the large team of experts who ensure Ukraine's European integration, and will help to those who are not directly involved in the realization of this training course to better understand what would be expected from us, what would it mean to be a full-fledged member of the EU, and what commitments and obligations and criteria that we need to comply with to be a member of the European family. Also, I would like to mention that the Vice Prime Minister's office spends lots of attention currently at different training and enhanced professional training courses, especially for incumbent civil servants, and we are grateful to our partners, the EU member countries, who are involved in this extremely important endeavor, because we're just at the initial stage and we need to build the relevant institutional and expert capabilities, and we have a number of joint projects with EU member countries, and I'm tremendously appreciative of each and everyone involved already. We live in the world that is ever-changing. Not everyone is ready to use the opportunity to go for MA training abroad for a long time. Some would find it useful to be exposed to e-learning tools, and that's our idea, to be flexible, to meet the various needs of our potential students, to be able to use various adaptive tools, and that's the rationale behind us designing this online course in the first place. And since on May the 9th we'll be celebrating the Day of Europe, it's extremely important for us to launch this training course on the eve of that day. That would be an additional impetus to this training course, thus exposing more and more people to the European integration process. Ms. Olena, let's discuss in greater detail about this training course, what blocks it consists of, who would be instructors. Well, that's exactly what I plan to cover, and those of you who are more interested, I'll share with you enough details so that you would find it important for you to register and become a student. We were using the essentialism principle, so only what's needed here now, that's what we left in our training course, in the content. And we did meet and consulted with the government officials, learning from them what are their needs in particular. But we haven't limited ourselves to this. We also talked to our youth who were involved in Euro integration activities before, and we tried to learn from them. What would they like to learn more? And ultimately, this product is comprised of 4 blocks that cover the laws behind the EU, how we need to adapt the Ukrainian legislation to the norms of the European legislation, what needs to be done by both us and Europeans to help us adapt our legislation and operate in the same legal environment. And we have involved 2 European experts, and we recorded an interview with them, with Viola von Kramten-Melbaden, the current MP of the European Parliament, huge advocate for the interests of Ukraine, and Tune Janssen, a young European politician from the Netherlands, who is running his campaign to be elected into the European Parliament. Previously, he worked in the European expert institutions as an expert on the enlargement of the EU, so he is a narrow subject matter expert on this. Respectively, in our social course, we have brief videos where our experts cover such topics as the founding principles of the European law, and Ms. Melnyk finalized this module. Also, Ms. Natalia Romanyuk, who is the professor of the International Affairs Institute of Lesya Ukrainka University. So she covered the legislation chapter, and our European experts I mentioned already. They gave us clear, easy to understand recommendations how to start negotiation process here now within the current environment. So what language to use, what to pay attention to, what are the strengths of Ukraine, what Europe would need from us. So, like Mr. Ambassador mentioned, we need to do our homework still. And ultimately, we hope that our students will be ready to be involved in negotiations after they graduate from our training course. Ms. Daria and our international experts both claim that these are ongoing negotiations, and Europe expects that Ukrainian delegation would be comprised not only of the government officials but from the civil society representatives, NGO people. So you can enter Prometheus, read everything offline, online, upload PDF slides and keep it on your cell phone in your pocket at all times. So use search tools and find the title of Prometheus-based training course, Accession to the European Union, aspects of negotiations. And the students would also be able to socialize and network online. What's the duration of the training course? Well, you can choose your own pace. It's not that we expect that it should be done overnight. Of course, it would be up to the students to find a window of 15 minutes. That's a lecture. We have 4 modules. Each has 7 to 12 lectures. So it's basically 3 to 4 academic hours, and then you have to pass tests. And then you would be certified. Your certificate could be uploaded, and thus you will be an... some people would cover it in a couple of days. We have more advanced experts who actually went through this training course in 1 day. But again, it's not a fundamental education. This is an advocacy campaign. It's just providing additional detailed information to those who would like to be involved in the negotiations, or people who want to write PhD thesis, or any other people who would care about Ukraine's prospects of European integration. Is it free of charge training course? Yes, it's free of charge thanks to the support of the Dutch embassy to Ukraine, and we're grateful to them for that. Ms. Victoriia, you became the lecturer of this training course, so share with us some information, how it was happening. Did you manage within a brief period of time to enter everything into one video, and would it be helpful at all? Thank you for this question. First of all, I would like to thank the ANS NGO and the embassy to involve me to this initiative. So we started by drafting the curriculum of this training course, because the idea is to expose the students to the nature of the EU and all the mechanics behind how it functions. And in the second part, what we need to do, what our priorities, challenges, and what best practices and lessons learned we can make use of here. we have studied the experience of Western Balkan countries, and we learned that it's important to solicit the support of ordinary people, because Euro integration is all about people being prepared for the membership, and the target audience would be not only civil servants, but students, young people, anyone who cares. It's difficult to cover everything in this format because the textbooks I use when I prepare lectures, it's about 1,800 pages, so you cannot squeeze all of those into our training course, but we tried to make it a concentrated information. Each target audience might find something useful for them. For some, it would be a basic training course, which will, for the first time, expose them to acquis communautaire, to the organizational structure, what are the laws and regulations, how they differ. So, basis and foundation to understand what it takes to negotiate. For others who have advanced knowledge about the EU, namely from the Office of the President, from the staff of the ministries, it would be valuable for them to hear out the insights of the European colleagues, learning from them what unique opportunities we have in this process. Also, this training course would be of interest to those who would not be directly involved in the negotiation process, but like students who still want to figure out what they want to do in their adult life. So this is the initiative that is worth being supported. Like I said, textbook is 1,800 pages alone. Well, this is a relevant training course for now, because even though the negotiation process will be lasting for quite a while, but then after we become the member, we will have to continue running training processes, but catering for a broader and larger audience, those who would be involved in passing decisions, helping to change the curricula of lots of colleges and universities, who would start using this training course in their curricula. And so we have lots of opportunities, much more than the challenges we have to overcome. Thank you, colleagues. If you have any questions, by raise of hands. Oleg Listopad lists newspaper. The Stinger vendor, Stinger missile vendors, have brought back engineers 70 years of age from retirement because of the needs in such narrow subject matter experts. Well, shouldn't we also involve in this process not only the youth, but retired diplomats, experts from NGOs? So are you planning to cater your training course to 60 plus age bracket, because we are the aging society? Well, thank you for a cool question. There are no age limitations, for sure. When my colleague Vasyl Sehin mentioned youth, he meant that, yeah, we make a focus on bringing the young generation of young elites who would be one way or another involved with building the future. But when we have designed this training course, we have not been looking only at the young men, because Prometheus is an open platform for all of the people. So business, community, and that's what our European partners stated. Ukraine needs to be represented at the negotiations to fully reflect on the structure of your society. And that's what is valued the most at the negotiation table, when the Ukrainian delegation presents the demographic picture of the society. So this training course is aimed at everyone, and it's being essential by default because people with different background would still find it useful. Thank you, Mr. Bester.
Very good question. And it's also close to my heart. It depends a little bit on the definition of what is young, and it's very much about interest. You know, you want to be engaged. We always say within the negotiation process, we are strict, fair, and engaged. And engagement is actually what it's all about. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you can participate. And I would say even diversity adds to qualitative courses. So I think that is actually what it's all about. Age is not a question, it's about what is actually happening in your mind. So you have to be young up here.
Дякую вам. У нас є ще питання, прошу.
Good morning. Добрый день. My name is Howard Dotson. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. When I was last here in Ukraine, I was at the NATO summit in Bucharest. And in 1999, when many countries joined NATO, they did it as an interim step on the path to becoming an EU member. So I'm wondering the relationship of Ukraine. I want Ukraine to be part of NATO. So that relationship of NATO membership in addition to EU membership and how that could help on this journey.
Пане Дар'ю, мабуть, до вас.
Well, first of all, thank you for this question. And that's exactly what our partners kept repeating to us. So first, follow our steps, joining NATO first and then becoming the member of the EU. And in terms of the accession to NATO, yeah, there are numerous requirements and conditionalities for the new member, but most of them depend on the political will of the allies, and they might pass that decision someday and will just become the member. While to be the member of the EU, it's thousands and thousands of documents and laws that have to be approximated. So when we visit Brussels, we often enough on one trip we visit both the NATO headquarters and the European institutions, but they always tell us, yeah, we are hosted in the same city, but the nature of our organizations, the way we bring new members, they're all different. So for quite a while, that was the logic within the Ukrainian society, but what we can see now is that we are moving much faster towards membership in the EU, because we clearly understand what is expected of us, what should be our next steps, while unfortunately with Euro-Atlantic integration, we lack this clarity of what is expected of us and what should be our next steps. So hopefully Ukraine might set the new precedent. When first joining the EU, you would then become the NATO member. And as a follow-up, Ukraine is ready to implement the requirements and commitments from NATO. All we need is formal invitation, because the majority of the technicalities and strategies have been already implemented and efficiently used in Ukraine, especially at the battlefield. So like the colleague mentioned, all we wait is for the political decision to make this process more active And Vasyl or Olena, would you share with us your expectations about this training course, quantitative and qualitative? My colleagues might join me in answering this, but first of all, I would like to thank you for the interest, for your questions, and the U.S. Army veteran in particular for being interested in the security of Ukraine. And so I would like to share my deep appreciation for your support. As for the training course, our expectation is to offer the consistent, sustainable track for all the strata of the Ukrainian population, those who would like to get involved in the negotiation process. They should expect that it's an inclusive process, because only by using the full of our human potential we can finalize both tracks of EU membership and NATO membership. So let's cover as many Ukrainians as we can with this training course. I'll be brief. We use Prometheus platform to launch the third training course, actually. And out of those 3 courses, this is the second Euro integration course. The previous one was Ukraine on the path to EU. We have recorded it with Madrius Kubilius, lecturer, former Prime Minister of Lithuania, Ras Yuknevičius, former Minister of Defense, and Euro deputy and great friend, Shimkiv, stars. So 3,000 students and 1,500 of them got certified. Well, this training course is more focused on professionals, but we still hope that it will have thousands of students and hundreds will be certified. So that these are our quantitative expectations. But as to qualitative expectations, well, it should be a sustainable, stable process. So hopefully, with time, the quality would be transformed into quantity into quality. Your Excellency, yeah.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I used to be the head of the Human Resources Management Department. And learning and developing is an important element of what it makes to be a Dutch diplomat. So we invest in people. There are very beautiful buildings, academies, but we decided to build actually the Academy of the Future in a digitalized way. What I like very much about these activities online is that everybody can learn at a time when it's convenient for them, and in a way which is also convenient for people. This is what I appreciate very much. It is, for example, you can learn in bed, just reading, or at breakfast when you have time. That is actually what I like very much about this course online. I think we learn in different ways. And it also stimulates to search for information yourself. So in many ways, I think this is the way forward. And I'm very happy with this course. And it's always possible also to look back if you want to look up what has been said or what has been done, or when you're interested in a certain presentation or the person behind the presentation. So I very, very much appreciate the initiative, and I think the digital way is the way forward.
Дякую вам і дякую нашим слухачам.
Thank you, and I would like to thank our audience. Thank you all. Well, Your Excellency, thank you and the people of the Netherlands for being the leader in the Air Force Coalition. Friends, we keep working together for the sake of our victory, and see you next time.